books are actually anti-sustainability. For example, the law that says unless you're producing $35,000 a year on your ag lot, you're not farming. You know, and the laws that say that, well, gardening doesn't count towards agriculture, and the laws that say unless your crops are in rows, it's not agriculture. It can't be done beautifully with, you know, more sustainable and holistic plan. So, you know, these are leftovers from the plantation days. Is there any hope of ever getting these laws off the books? People have been complaining about them for decades, and yet we don't see any change at all from the county.
I'm not going to tell you, Henry, I'm not going to say there's no hope. I'm going to say yes, there's hope. So I like the question. Yes, there's hope. How to do it? That's, you know, that's where the challenge lies. And it would be easy to say, Kenneth, can you answer? But I'm not going to put you on the spot. I feel that, you know, Kenneth knows what it's like to have a myriad of issues to deal with, and, you know, wish you had more time for initiatives. And I would love to see, you know, a whole smorgasbord of initiatives to support local ag opportunities. Yeah, you know, the county has supported ag for a long, long time. But, you know, those of you who've been involved with Maui Farmers Union know that there's some gaps and some things that aren't supported and aren't funded as much as some other things. And we probably need all of them. If we're going to achieve sustainability, we're going to need it all. So
to follow up on this question, has there been any positive inroads towards changing that or adding language that will stop the, I mean, we don't have the enforcement because we don't have the money to enforce it. But Dan, as it has, as far as you're concerned, as far as Kenneth knows, has there been any inroads to make that not an issue of illegality?
well, that's got to come through the legislative process when we're talking about laws that are on the books, and, you know, the ones that aren't working, given what we hope to, you know, achieve for local food production, you know, from the small backyard level to the small farm to, you know, bigger business. So we also need to work with our county council members and find who are our go-to people, whether it's Mike White or Gladys Bisa here Upcountry or others elsewhere. We really need to work with all of them. And, you know, hopefully we can go in and collaborate and ask for the things that, you know, we think are going to support this ground level sustainability.
We, in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about how to influence the state legislature. We've been trying to get Patrick Wong from the county council office to teach us an ordinance writing workshop. He promises he will do it, but that's the kind of thing where we start to create the language that changes the laws. We offer those to the county council members, get a couple of them on board, and that's what they're really asking for. You write the language, and I'll put it before the council. So we are working on that, and that's the kind of thing that we need to know how to do. Right.
Stop questions over here.
Yeah. The main reason I was interested in coming tonight was the idea that possibly the largest landowners in Maui, even the sugarcane owners, have pretty much the end game word on how the farms can go ahead in terms of sustainability, agriculture and energy. And I was wondering first, is there anyone from them here tonight?
I don't know. I actually was contacted by a couple of.
Can you tell us what you?
Oh,
we couldn't hear what you were saying.
Sorry, that's
Anybody
fine.
who would be,
yeah, just Saul was noting that the biggest landowner, being the plantation,
They have the end game say on how this island really moves ahead. And if they dig their heels in, it's all going to be red as far as I can see. And unless there's some, what I envision is some sort of independent think tank which does combine sustainable technology, like cutting edge sustainable technology with cutting edge economic science to bring those two things together. Without that, there's just not going to be any creativity.
I tend to agree with you. I wrote an article a couple of years ago called Slow Burn, and it was addressing, it was reporting basically on this cyclical community debate that occurs. And I think things just kind of heated up in the month of October because we had cane burning on a lot of days with variable winds or no winds. When the cane smoke went up, it came right back down. And my phone started ringing, people sending me pictures and going, you know, how can this possibly be that they're allowed to burn on a day like this? And I walked across the street a few weeks ago, and talked to the gentleman in the State Department of Health Clean Air branch. He's the environmental officer there, and he's the one who has discretion on saying, do you burn today or do you not burn today? And started looking a lot more closely into Department of Health regulations on air pollution and all of that. But this happens every.
Is that Blake? Sorry,
Pardon?
is that Blake?
Blake Sheehy.
Yeah, because I call him all the time, I talk to him all the time.
He says tell people to call me. So people that contacted my office. Since I spoke with them, I said, well, you can talk with the main guy. So yeah, I would tend to agree with you that unless we look at things differently than we have, this is just going to repeat itself. So one idea that I have, that I've discussed with Melanie and discussed with Jennifer Chirico at the college, is to host a community forum that brings people together and, without pointing fingers and saying, I can't stand this, you've got to stop and you've got to stop now. My kids are homesick, coughing and asthma and all this. I've heard it all. And I think that they have too. But I think what we can do is, as you say, bring the brightest minds together, look at what are the opportunities, what are the obstacles, what is their outlook for the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and see what we can collectively identify that would be win-win solutions.
Can I just add, sorry, just to complete what I said, just for example, in terms of solar and wind, the opportunities that they have that use the land to turn into an economic benefit to them and people like putting energy stuff on that land instead of sugar cane.
I agree.
And having not only that, but looking at what the actual cutting edge science in those things are, because right now what's going on is actually already updated. Like the solar concentrators that they're doing in the Sahara now.
I've talked to
the elliptical motors that don't need direction.
I also scheduled a meeting today with our energy commissioner, and we're going to go in and talk with the plantation manager and their renewable energy guy, Lee Jakeway. So that's going to happen sometime soon, and we're going to ask them where they're at and talk about what I believe are some opportunities. And I think because where they're currently operating is one of the sunniest and windiest parts of the island, there are some opportunities there for sure. You had to.
But I'm just going to ask you, how can we put an initiative on the gala so that people could actually vote on this issue? How can we approach it in that regard?
There's language in the county charter. I don't have a copy of it with me, but it's, if you go Maui County Charter, actually on MauiCounty.gov, in the left-hand column on the webpage, you can click onto the county charter, and chapter 16 or something. I know it's on the charter link. But there is a prescribed process, and you've got to go in with the understanding that no one has brought an initiative forward with the process as it is now constructed. You need 20%, I believe, signatures of the voters who voted in the last presidential election. And that's a lot. You're talking about maybe 12,000 signatures, and
I think right now it's around 7,500.
we always need more because the county clerk's office will go in and you know, if they write down, if the address that they wrote down doesn't correspond with the one that they have at the county, they'll throw that signature out. So, you know,
But Ron,
yeah,
look, I want to go back.
all right, okay, good.
Are you interested in coming to, participating in a forum where everybody's interests, including HCNS, get discussed, and we brainstorm, you know, best minds thinking how to move forward, how to create a sustainable agricultural situation here that benefits everybody, including them. Are you interested in something like that? And would you be able to come and not just badmouth them, you know, but realize that their interests are as important as anybody's, really. And we have to look at it in that way. Who do you think should be on a panel up here? Who do you know that should be on a panel?
I nominate Dr. Phyllis Robinson.